You're listening to Abnormal Advice, the podcast from Folk Process, where we answer questions you can't ask anywhere else. I'm your host, Abby Watt. Learn more about us at abnormaladvice.com. Hi, folks. I am here with Kim, who played Caitlin in episode 1 of Abnormal Advice. I, as you may have noticed, haven't had a lot of new episodes recently, and that is because I am one person doing a podcast with a full-time job and lots of other stuff going on. By the way, we are also streaming this interview online at twitch.tv/abnormaladvice. Feel free to hop in or, come follow us. And if there's a future interview, maybe you'll catch it or, other streamy goodness. Yeah, I wanted to at least release something for a while because the creative parts of the podcast are a lot harder than I had initially thought they might be, which is okay. The whole point is to do this for fun and to bug my friends to spend some creative time with me. But yeah, I also want listeners to know, like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still working on stuff in the background. But in the meantime, I thought it would be fun to get to talk to Kim and know a little bit more about her. So, Kim, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Gosh, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm Canadian, and I grew up in an area called Amiskwaciwâskahikan, otherwise known as Edmonton, which is in Treaty 6 territory. I always get them mixed up because Treaty 6 is in the middle, and then Treaty 7 is in the south, and then Treaty 8 is in the north, so it's all mushed up.
Like you do.
Like you do. Anyway, most of my, at least professional life, since that takes up most of our time, is being an educator. And I was a teacher in like K-12 schools. And then I transitioned over to adult learning for a bit. And now I make training for the city I live in, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And when I started, I was pretty introverted. Like, I'm a very different person now, but I used to be pretty shy and reserved. And throughout my career, it kind of forced me, like, you got to be a little bit more outgoing. You have to project. You have to do things with your voice. And in the last few years, I just picked up the habit of, not habit, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? Hobby. These are hobbies. My new hobby is voice acting for people's passion projects, because it turns out that I like reading things and it's fun. And I have some skill with my voice. So I was pretty tickled pink when you said, I'd like it if you were part of my passion project. I'm like, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I was really happy that you were able to. I have a really hard time picturing you being more reserved at this point. For folks who are not familiar with Kim, can I talk about your Twitch channel?
Sure.
She is Complacent on Twitch, and I have had so much fun watching her play scary games and just screaming her head off. It's so good.
I'm a chicken.
I mean, you're like a brave chicken, though, which is the best kind of chicken, because a true chicken doesn't get into situations where one needs to scream one's head off, but you do, and it's fantastic.
I found, like, by myself, I cannot play a horror game. And then I had discovered the secret sauce during COVID was, if other people are watching me and laughing, I'm totally fine. Like, this is safe. I'm not actually in danger. As long as I can hear other people laughing or imagine that they're laughing at me, then I can get through the horror game.
Yeah, I'm with you in that exact same boat, where, like, the game we met in was Phasmophobia, and I have a couple hundred hours in that game, but I will not play it by myself because it's too scary for me. Versus, like, if I play it with friends, it's like, oh, fine, I will go walk up to the ghost who's trying to kill me and, like, take his picture and whatever. But, like, on my own, I'm like, I do not want to go into that building. What is wrong with you? Why are you expecting this of me?
I remember in the tutorial, the first time I played it, I was by myself, and the thing said, you're safe, it's not going to hunt you. And I still fear quit, I guess, not rage quit, but I can't do this, it's too scary.
I skipped the tutorial because I was too scared of playing alone.
What do you mean I have to do this alone?
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously you were a fantastic choice when I was thinking, like, I'm going to do a podcast about kind of scary, spoopy things. I'm very happy that you were able to be available for that.
Tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind this particular story that I was in, which, if people are wondering, and to fill in the gaps,
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I play in the first episode of Abnormal Advice, where a woman is calling in because her farm is being haunted by a banshee.
Yes. The inspiration for the podcast as a whole came from Keeping the Bones, where, like, I, in episode 3, play a character who's also named Abby, who is a podcast creator, but also kind of tuned into spooky occurrences. And I was like, I like doing Keeping the Bones. I want to do more of this. And I was thinking about other podcasts that I liked. And I was like, okay, how do we have like fun / spooky / weird storytelling, but also be able to tell stories that are kind of just about like living as a person too sometimes. And the community radio show host angle has been done very well by another extremely popular podcast. So I was listening to a different podcast and they mentioned that one of their co-hosts was going off to do an advice podcast. And I was like, oh, that's it. Like, that's where you can get all of everything I want. Like, you can do so much when it's an advice podcast. And I also foolishly thought, like, I won't have to edit as much because we're just talking to each other, right? It's fine if it sounds less polished. And then it's like, well, actually, no, it's still drama. So you still want it to sound good. Damn it. So that answers the question you didn't ask. And for the one that you did ask, this particular episode was inspired by a friend of mine who is actually the reason I ended up getting off my butt to do the podcast at all in the first place. Because I, at the time, and she is in remission and doing well now, but I learned that she had cancer. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? What can I do? And like, my brain kind of went, well, you can write a podcast for her because that's how things work. So because I had like some desire to help her, nothing I could actually do, I was like, well, okay, I'll do the podcast and the first episode will like be based on you. And not that she lives on a farm with a ghost, but that's who Caitlin is based off of, is my friend, who also happens to be another just lovely redhead who's an excellent person. So like kind of really worked out there. But
it runs in the hair.
Yeah. But yeah, she's Irish American too. So it's like, okay, if my friend's going to have a ghost problem, like, yeah, it could very well be a banshee. And then... go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask, when it comes to inspiration in general for all of the episodes that you have on this podcast, where are places that you usually get most of your ideas, or when does inspiration strike, or how do you do that creative process for yourself?
Talking with friends has been phenomenal. I remember there was one night, it was so fun. We were just like on a Discord call where a bunch of us were just talking and like throwing out ideas. We do have a Discord if anyone's interested. I don't know, message me, abnormaladvicepodcast@gmail.com, and I can get you info. But yeah, people just throwing out ideas, like stuff they want to see or stuff I want to see. Actually, my friends themselves have been inspiring because it's like, if my friend were in this situation, what would it be like? Or like episode 2, Werewife. At some point, someone said, oh, someone's spouse is a werewolf. And then someone else was like, yeah, but what if they think it's hot? And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to go that angle specifically. Not that I'm against it, but...
Not that kind of podcast.
Yeah, not quite. Not yet. OnlyFans coming in 2026 with all your favorite fictional podcast characters. But yeah, just sort of going like, okay, I have this person in mind. I guess there's a scenario. So then I kind of write the scenario like, what if this scenario happened to this person that I know? Episode 3, which is currently the most recent episode that we've got, that was because my husband really likes driving his car. And so I was like, okay, how do I make a car-based episode? But it's like a paranormal advice podcast. I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. But there is kind of one problem with all the episodes, and that is it's a call-in show, so you don't get the payoff of like, okay, this is spoiler alerts for all of the episodes. Go listen to all the episodes first. Oh, I can poke you. Poke. For episode 1, you don't get to know if Abby's advice, okay, well, maybe this is not spoilery. I don't know. Still go listen to the episodes, though. If you're not listening to those episodes, why are you here? But we don't get to know if Abby's advice to Caitlin helps her get rid of her ghost. Because that's how call-in shows go, is the person calls and says, hey, I think I have this problem. And the advisor goes, oh, have you tried this? And they go, oh, thanks. And then, they go their separate ways. So I feel like all 3 episodes that we have currently have a lot of room for follow-up episodes. Does Caitlin get her house back? That's actually one of the questions I have for you, which I was thinking about while I was writing this episode is, would you, Kim, want to live in a house with a banshee? And why or why not?
Oh, gosh. No, I would not.
No.
Mostly because I don't know anything about lore of banshees, but based on what I learned through recording this episode, especially now that there's vaccines, you're potentially living with a ghost that's just going to remain and scream for the rest of time.
Well, I would say a normal banshee, because Caitlin's persistent banshee is fairly unusual.
Maybe. Are we anti-vaxxers? Yeah, in general, the idea of something that's just constantly there and like, it's there and it's not going away. Or if this was a banshee where actually like within a week, okay, it's gone, then I'm like, oh, okay. I would just be like, who dying? In general, I think I would like to avoid any ghosts on the premises. That would be, I want to have my house and not freeloaders who don't help pay the rent.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm kind of undecided myself, because part of me is like, would that help you get your stuff in order? Would it help you accept it more easily? But it's also like, man, if someone in my family is going to die, like, maybe I don't need an extra couple days of that. I could really just live with things happening suddenly rather than knowing.
Yeah.
I don't know. To get morbid though, there are definitely situations in my life where it would have helped to know, like, all right, is this person going to die now or not? Like, with a hospice situation.
Right.
Not to sound super callous, but there are logistics that you have to deal with when, a family member's dying that you don't realize. Like, oh, you're going to be grieving and also like have to deal with the plumber. And, of course, work as an adult and all that stuff like that. So I don't know. That almost makes it appealing enough to say, like, hell yeah, bring the banshee in.
You do raise an interesting point. Yeah. I mean, if you have a young, relatively healthy family and you start hearing that, it's like, no. Shit, this is bad.
Yeah.
But if you have a family member who, like, the quality of life is not there anymore, they've been suffering for so long, you also, it's like you said, it's a logistics problem. It's just going to be a prolonged, like, grieving process. And you're like, okay, I would like to know that this is coming to an end soon.
Yeah.
That banshee cry could almost be like oh, thank fucking God.
Well, because at that point, you're already grieving. Like, I don't want to increase my grief, like you said, with the young, healthy family. But I also think, too, in the end, we all go. And if it's a situation where, it's expected, even if you don't want it to be expected, I think that could be a relief. So, again, still on the fence, because it's like, well, I would really hate to hear that and not be expecting it.
I suppose my first reaction, if I were in the first scenario, young, healthy family, would be like, I don't have a will. Gotta get that done right now.
Yeah.
Off to the registry.
I mean,
I
yeah.
probably wouldn't be singing. I would
Why
probably
not?
be really stressed.
You know, you're going to die. You might as well get your singing in. Yeah. So yeah, well, so welcome to Abnormal Advice. We talk about shit like this. I mean, the first episode's about a banshee, which is, of course, a ghost who comes and like is the harbinger. She's not really harbinging, but the trumpeter, announcer, conveyor of the news that you've got a family member who's going to die, which I feel like really sets the tone for the podcast, because it's like, hey, that situation is serious and dark, but now actual spoiler. Okay, actual spoiler now. The solution to that is so silly that it's like,
So goofy.
what? Yeah, Abby tells Caitlin, like, hey, I think the issue is just that your banshee's medical knowledge isn't current, and someone in your family was supposed to die according to like the hundreds of years of knowledge that your banshee's lacking. So like, give your banshee some medical knowledge. Put up YouTube for a while and see what happens, which is like the stupidest advice. It made me really pleased to come up with that.
I do like the idea of you took all of these paranormal knowledge, like the lore, and you looked for little bridges or holes in it. Like, how can I spin this in a new way that we haven't heard before? I really thought the idea of a banshee and vaccines was super clever and hilarious. Or even the idea of werewolves being like, we cannot interact with humans that way, and this is a big deal. You found a really cool way to spin a really tightly written story with just a few ideas and a talking show.
Thanks. Yeah, it's with both banshees and werewolves, there's, so much rich background to draw on. And I do want to shout out Dr. Emily Zarka's Monstrum, which is on PBS and you can watch it streaming. They're short episodes about various different kinds of paranormal ghosties and Mothman and banshees and werewolves and slasher movies and dolls. And there's a ghost in the Philippines that's just the upper torso of a woman that comes and like eats pregnant women. It's fantastic. So if you're into that kind of thing, go check out Monstrum. Not eating pregnant women, but, various kinds of ghosts. Go check out the kinds of ghosts.
Would you say that that is one of your main inspirations for this podcast?
The digestible, shorter format certainly has been inspiring, because the Monstrum episodes are like 10 minutes or less.
Oh, cool.
And I really appreciate that. It's more just that it's a video compendium of here's all of this cool information that you might otherwise not have been exposed to. I am trying, though. It's amazing how different paranormal ideas percolate. There's an episode that I haven't started writing yet, but it's been shaking around in my head since I started working on the podcast, which has been over a year at this point, where a ghost is communicating to someone that they're haunting through their farts. And yeah.
Was that another one of your husband's ideas as well?
I mean, I may have been inspired by a real life fart or two. Yeah, it turns out there's a fun children's book about a kid who gets haunted by King Tut because he eats some cursed cheese, and like how this kid goes through it. Yeah, I was like, okay, I need to check out this book to make sure I'm not like seriously ripping them off. And with Monstrum as well, like I love Monstrum, but I'm not going to be like, let's turn that episode into a podcast. And in fact, I'm trying to not just do like your Halloween type ghouls. Because, you know, first episode is Banshee, that's a ghost. Second episode's werewolf. The obvious next third episode would be a vampire. And surely we will have a vampire episode. But I also want to be like, okay, well, we can make this weirder. We can go anywhere with this. I don't want to rip other people's work off, but I also don't want to limit myself to just like, oh, what are these existing stories that we've got? Like, I want to write my own stories too.
Mm-hmm. What other podcast episodes are in the queue next, Abby?
The one that's partially written is my friend is dating a ghost and he's an asshole. So how do we break them up? I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. And then the fart one is the next most complete one in my head. It's kind of interesting. So this is the first like creative writing I've done in a long time. And I've been learning a lot about myself as a writer. Because I used to read a lot and now I don't have patience. So I listen to audiobooks and podcasts a lot. It's like there is a discipline to it. But I've also learned, like, if I just put stuff in my head and kind of shake it around and then stuff comes out, and that's really cool and rewarding too. But I am currently, or I haven't been in the shake it around and stuff comes out phase, and I need to get back into the discipline phase, but we'll get there. Or another one that's shaking around in there is someone who realizes, like, hey, I've never really felt like I've belonged, but then I met these people who I like just instantly click with, and like, I know I belong with them. So how do I fix it so that I can go be with these people? Which, you know, it certainly was inspired by like meeting you and the other folks in that Discord, because I've, for those who don't know, I've had the pleasure of meeting Kim in person. So fun. And a bunch of other folks too. And like, it really kind of sucked coming back from that vacation where I met a bunch of people and then just being like, why can't these people live here or me live there? Or, you know, it feels like it's unjust to not have you folks like in my physical life. So that's what that person is going to go through, is like, hey, I reject this reality. I want to fix it. Let's fix it.
Ooh, that is a really good idea, because I have written on occasion myself as well. But I find that when you actually have like a personal experience and you write about that experience, the writing gets 10 times easier and better, and people can feel the emotion through the words. And I feel like you've done a good job of that too.
Thank you.
With the other episodes. Hi, little cat.
This is little one.
Oh, gosh,
she's one of the
so
cats
cute.
who helps me write. She is. Oh God! Oh, she's like.
She's helping.
She's helping. She's so helpful. When I recorded the outro, I had she's about to roll on my keyboard. She's not allowed to do that. Hang on, time to cut. You can kind of see the chair behind me. Oh wait, no. Okay. Cat has been removed. So, where the hell was I before this cat showed up? Right. The outro, when I said we're not made by AI, but my cats may have helped, it's because I was in a little tent. I set up just a blanket over my microphone and my monitor when I'm recording stuff. And my cat was like, oh, cool, tent, and like made his way in there as I was speaking. And so I'm like, my cat may have helped as well.
I remember that. That was cute.
Yeah, that one, that was the bigger cat who came and did that.
Naturally.
Yeah, she, the one that we just saw, she's very food motivated. But I totally agree. All of the episodes have some aspect of me in them. I mean, I don't think you can write stuff that you are absolutely divided from, or at least, I don't know, you probably could, but what would be the point? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll save talking about other episodes much more probably for those interviews, which I'm hoping to have, and I think folks are interested. Interviewees are interested. But with Caitlin, it is the question of, oh, Banshee, how do you accept death is coming? And that's not super touched on in the episode, but there is still an element of like, all right. And I was also really cognizant that I was writing an episode where a Banshee showed up based on my friend who had breast cancer. So I was like, this has to end well. because it has to, like, for me. I still felt bad for Caitlin, though, at the end of the episode, because I was like, I just set her up to, like, maybe never get her house back. I don't know. It doesn't feel super nice. I think everyone in the first couple of episodes gets a bit of a raw deal, but maybe their problems were solved.
Potentially. It's yet to be seen. Perhaps she'll come back and talk about it.
Maybe. Ooh. One question I'm interested in is, what is the best advice you've ever gotten, or some really good advice that stuck with you?
Oh, I remember you sent these questions to me ahead of time, and I looked at them and I thought of some answers, and I do not remember that one now.
Well, other option is, what's some bad advice that you've gotten?
Let's see, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about advice I've received?
No advice ever received.
Yeah, no one has ever given me one tip one time. Oh, suddenly that's a really hard question. Yeah, you know when people ask you, like, hey, name 3 chocolate bars, suddenly you don't know what a chocolate bar is.
It's impossible. Well, I know we just hit the half-hour mark, and I could keep talking to you forever. So, I don't know, maybe we do another interview if you want. But I don't want to keep all of your time this evening. I do know that you are not promoting anything at this time? Question mark?
No. Kimmy got nothing going on.
All right. Well, if someone has an opportunity for you, is there a good way for them to reach you?
If you look up Kim Placent on social media, you will likely find me, and then you can message me there.
Okay. And also, if you can't find her, you have found me. So, again, emails abnormaladvicepodcast@gmail.com. Did you have any other questions you wanted to ask before I let you go?
Well, since I couldn't answer the question, what is some of the most memorable advice, good or bad, you have received?
Yeah, this is also the chocolate bar situation. I do remember, it's been a while now, but when I was in college, I started having headaches and lightheadedness and all sorts of fun stuff that goes with that. And I'm still dealing with it now. And I went to an optometrist who said, oh, don't worry about it. This is just stress from college. You know, in a couple years, you won't even remember that this happened. So I remember that. Yeah, I think it, yeah, I still deal with it now. It's part of the reason why the podcast isn't more happening. But it also, I do think as I've gotten older and I've sort of figured out how to better take care of myself, like it's gotten better. But I do remember the guy who told me it wasn't something I needed to worry about and I could just forget about it.
The number of times I've had a medical professional tell me I wouldn't worry about it when later it turns out, oh, that was something worth worrying about. Thanks, medical professional.
Yeah. And I mean, I am sympathetic too. Like in my day job, I'm a software quality engineer. So I get to look at code and try to break code and try to understand code. And we are so much more complicated than code. But just looking at code, it's like, oh, I understand now that this is so complicated that it's really hard to say, like, what is causing what within this program I'm looking at, let alone a human. We don't get to look. Here's another one too. And this isn't advice, but this is just more stupid medical stuff people have said. I was taking a class on depression offered by my local hospital because that was part of their treatment program, which was kind of awful. She said, depression is caused by a chemical imbalance in your brain. And I said, how do you measure that? And she goes, well, we don't. And I'm like, okay. And I think this was, again, oh, hi, Pale Cran. We have our first person in chat. Yeah. This was, again, quite some time ago. And I think that now current thinking is less chemical imbalancey, or it's different, I think, than it used to be. But yeah, I was just like, if it's a chemical imbalance, we should be able to measure that, right? But she's like, well, you can't just put a needle into your brain. And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
But how do we know that it's a chemical imbalance to begin with if we haven't measured it first?
Exactly. This leads me to like, let's give some people good advice, and that is advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Bodies do weird things. Also, I'm not a doctor or any kind of medical professional, but like bodies do weird things. And it's really difficult for healthcare providers, I think, to tell, unless you've got like a bone sticking out, is this a weird thing that's supposed to happen or not? Especially as you get older, your body does more weird things. But if you're like, this, what my body's doing is not working for me, keep looking into it. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, maybe you do what I did and you like improve your diet and exercise and stuff. And even if the thing doesn't improve, then, oh no, your diet and exercise is better. Yeah.
And actually, yeah, secondary to that advice is I found it really hard to advocate for myself. It felt oddly like a battle even for me to speak up because I didn't want to be rude to people. But it turns out you can advocate for yourself while still being kind and respectful. And I found it easier to imagine, okay, well, if I was in the room with my sister who is nonverbal and can't advocate for herself, what would I say on her behalf? So collect your data and pretend that you are standing up for a loved one. And then it suddenly gets a lot easier. And especially if you've got that data too to back it up, be like, yo, this is specifically what's happening. That can help a professional get you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like Abby on the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. +1 for everything you just said. That is fantastic. No notes. I think that is a fantastic note to end this one on. Kim, thank you again both for your work in episode 1 and for your time tonight.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. This has been a lot of fun.
Yay, good. And folks, again, if you want to hear more of Kim, she is in season 1, episode 1 as Caitlin. If you're not already listening to Abnormal Advice, please go to your local podcast app or YouTube and go give us a listen. And also special bonus points if you somehow reach out and let me know that you like listening to the podcast, because that feels really good to hear. Good night. Bye. Happy time zone.
Adios.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Abnormal Advice, a podcast by Folk Process. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a good rating, and spread the word. You can find our donation info and more at abnormaladvice.com. Our intro and outro music is Shiver by Battlejuice. You can find more of their music at battlejuice.bandcamp.com, or just go there to listen to Shiver over and over and over and over and over. This podcast is 100% made by humans with no AI. My cats may have helped a bit too. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, events, entities, or locales is entirely coincidental.